Welcome, everyone. We're here today, as is obvious, to celebrate the life of Kathleen, Katie Cornwall Perkins, as we all knew her, right? Multiple names for a multi-talented woman. Thank you all for coming. I know that she meant a lot to each of you, and everyone here meant a lot to her. As many of you have said throughout the time that I've been here and have said to each of us in private messages and in some of the messages that you've posted on the Potter Funeral Chapel website, she lived a life that was full, that was authentic, that was filled with joy. She also lived a life, as we all have, that involves some sadness and some sorrow. And my brothers and I today will be talking about all aspects of her life. But we do ask you to bear with us because we're not professionals at this sort of thing, and we are going to have some tears, and there are going to be some pauses. There hopefully will be some laughter too. We're all going to get through this, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So again, thank you so much for coming. I'm probably forgetting something that I was supposed to say. I was reminded just a few minutes ago, but my mind is just focused on Mom, and I think now is the appropriate time for us just to take a moment of silence. And during that moment of silence, if you would prefer to pray, please do so. To meditate, that would be great, or just to think about Mom. So if you'll join me, let's begin. Thank you. So, in the order of service, the life sketch of Mom is next. And my brothers and I have decided that we would read the obituary. Kathleen Gale Cornwall Perkins, June 9, 1948 to August 13, 2024. Kathleen Gale Perkins was born June 9, 1948 in Emmett, Idaho, to Alvin and Lucille Cornwall, smack dab between her two best friends, her loving sister Sharon and loving brother Brent. Descended from Mayflower passengers, Irish and Swedish immigrants and early pioneer settlers of the Treasure Valley. She was, according to the diary that she kept as a young girl, a good girl, crazy about Elvis. High school years were spent with close friends, many of whom are here today, in fast cars, at movies, at dances, always having a raucous time. She left high school when she was 17 to marry Jack Perkins, and soon had what many people call Irish triplets, Paul, Jock, and Chris, whom she taught, doted on, cared for, guided, and encouraged to do the hard things in life. She, Jack, and the boys moved frequently in the early years around Oregon and Washington, while Jack was pursuing an apprenticeship and his career. It was in La Grande, Oregon, that she began working outside the home. Her first job was secretary to the principal of Central Elementary School, a job that abruptly ended when her boss caught her typing one of his letters using the hunt and peck method, despite earlier assurances from her that she could type many, many words per minute. Probably because of her boldness, he promoted her. She began managing the community schools program in the school district, teaching elementary students and their families to exercise, learn new skills, and dance and play. In Elgin, Oregon, she opened an art gallery to display her oil paintings and the works of many local artists. She then took over the town's defunct community center and made it the heart of the community, restoring the swimming pool, holding Saturday night dances, Saturday afternoon movies for the kids, often playing The Little Rascals, after-school programs, and art, craft, and many other classes, all funded by grants she wrote and an auction that she organized. It is a testament to her legacy that the community center remains true to her name nearly half a century later. After moving to Northern California, she taught for the Head Start program, worked as a mental health crisis worker, and joined the LDS Church, where she was immediately called to leadership positions. When the family moved to Baker, now Baker City in Eastern Oregon, she was called to more leadership positions in her church and took over management of the Bashi Sage Mall, filling it with artists and vendors and shops for the community. She also taught preschool and helped to start the high school baseball program and raise money for it so that her boys could play their favorite sport during the school year. When she wasn't showing the professional world a thing or two, she was with her family, traveling to see her parents, her sister, her brother, and their families, water skiing at Wallowa and Eagle Lakes, and the Snake River above the Brownlee Dam, snow skiing at Spout Springs and Anthony Lakes, camping in the Elkhorn and Wallowa Mountains, picnicking, cooking exotic meals, jogging, aerobicizing, painting oil landscapes on canvas, taking college classes, watching her boys' baseball games, researching her family history, but most of all, caring for, teaching, and guiding her boys. And always speaking to us in superlatives, telling us that we were the nicest, the strongest, the smartest, the fastest, the best looking boys around. There was a soundtrack to Mom's life, and it was unapologetically 1970s. The Eagles, Carly Simon, Neil Diamond, Barbra Streisand, John Prine, and CCR. When she wasn't listening to them, she was blasting "I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar" at +10 for all the neighbors to hear. I have to get a drink, sorry. After we boys left home, she and Dad moved to the Oregon coast, where she became a social worker for Child Protective Services. She later became a legal investigator, traveling the country, interviewing witnesses, compiling reports, and testifying in the state's most serious criminal trials. Her professional accomplishments were impressive, even for someone with a postgraduate degree. Mom didn't finish high school. She was whip smart, quick-witted, well-read, and big-hearted. She believed that everyone deserved her respect, regardless of race, color, gender, age, sexual orientation, or ability. That is, unless someone did something, she would say, uncalled for to her boys, in which case she gave them hell. She was our fiercest and most loyal defender. She was a loving aunt, cousin, sister-in-law to many, and she lived for being a grandma. She rained down gifts upon her grandchildren. She read, sewed special clothes, and played catch with them. Bought them hamburgers and milkshakes, and I failed to say in the obituary, lots of Cokes. Taught them to draw and to paint, and held tea parties and constructed doll houses with them. She was beloved by her grandchildren, especially for warming towels in the dryer for when they arose from their baths. She and Dad eventually divorced, and she moved back to Emmett, her hometown, where she quickly rounded up old and new friends who were always together at dinners, parties, concerts, and trips throughout the Pacific Northwest. It was her powerful brain that first began to show signs of wear. She received a diagnosis of mid-stage dementia despite her age and otherwise excellent health. She accepted her fate, cruel as it was, residing in her home with the help of many loving and gifted caregivers. Until it became time to move into a nursing facility, the Cottages, where she received excellent care. Her seemingly boundless heart gave out late in the morning of August 13th, 2024, just after being bathed, dressed, having her hair brushed and braided, and being seated for a morning meal, just like a queen mother. She was preceded in death by her loving parents and devoted sister Sharon. She has survived, mourned, and will be continually loved by family and friends, too numerous to mention. But they include her brother Brent and his wife Fatima. Her boys, me, Paul, Jock, and Chris, and our families. My family, Denise, Maddie, and Max. Jock's family, Garrett, Allie, Sydney, Gabe, and Gavin. Chris's family, Casey, Krista, and Michael, and his wife, Allie. And I forgot to mention Krista's husband. Sorry. Her grandchildren, Stella, Huckleberry, Levy, Kinsley, and Cash. Her nephew, Tony. Her nieces, Shelby and Taylor. Vanessa and Leah and Aaron. Her brothers and sisters-in-law and their spouses, Roy, Dale and his wife, Sue, Tom and Rich, Steve, Patty, Sandy and Jim, Heidi and Rick, and her former husband and partner, Jack, and Laura. In the obituary, we asked that people actually give flowers instead of just make a donation, because Mom loved flowers so much, and she loved to arrange flowers. And thank you so much, everyone who gave flowers. They're beautiful, and I know Mom would have appreciated them very much. I'll end by reading what we wrote in the obituary, which was, "We hope you are listening, Mom. You were the best mother any child could hope to have. We love you. We are devastated. We lost you twice." Okay, so next we have our first speaker, Chris Perkins.
Great job, brother. And Mom would have loved all these flowers, so thank you. So my clearest memories of Mom growing up were that she would always have a rhyme for everything. And she'd wake us up to them. She'd use them to make us laugh and often to bring us comfort. I'm going to share some of those with you today. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. I remember who taught me to tie them. Mom, it was you. In the living room on Miller Drive, you would patiently show how the bunny goes around the tree and into the hole. That's one of the earliest memories I have of Mom. I also think it was the only time she let me wear my shoes in the house. She always kept our home spotless, and looking back, I don't know how she accomplished that, having 3 boys constantly running in and out, but she did. And she had a knack for decorating. She made all of our homes beautiful, and, well, she made them home. Fishy, fishy in the brook, come and bite my little hook. I'll reel you in as fast as I can, and Mama will fry you up in a pan. Growing up in the 70s, we didn't have things like video games, cable TV, or the internet. Entertaining us boys was completely hands-on. Mom would load us up in the car, and we'd go to the pool or the park almost every day. I remember trips to Candy Cane Park, where we would play baseball, ride the merry-go-round, and soar as high as those swings could reach. But my favorite trips were to Riverside Park or Morgan Lake, where Mom would take us fishing. And one of my favorite memories is Mom and I made a fishing pole one time. I had a stick and some kite string, a bobber, and a safety pin. And that's when she taught me to repeat the fishy, fishy in the brook rhyme, which she said would help me catch one. And I don't ever remember catching one on that safety pin. But to this day, fishy in the brook ruminates in my mind almost every cast. Mom devoted her life to making every day special for us boys when we were growing up. School days, good old golden rule days. Reading and writing and arithmetic taught to the tune of a hickory stick. And there was one more. Up in the morning by the peck a day, away to the river and the boat shot away. I don't know if there was more to that one or not, but that's as much as I could remember of that one. So when I first started school, Mom would always wake us boys up with one of these fun rhymes. We lived way out in the country, and it was a long walk up the hill to the bus stop. She had to start our day early because we were one of the first pickups on the bus route, and the driver wouldn't wait around for us. I suspect it was because she didn't want us boys on her bus causing trouble, which we were known to do from time to time. I don't ever remember Mom yelling or nagging. She would just come in and sing one of these rhymes and help the 3 of us get ready. Mom was patient and always started our day out right, with a beautiful smile, a kiss on the cheek, and a song in our hearts to carry us up the hill. 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey spit tobacco on the streetcar line. The line broke, the monkey got choked, and they all went to heaven in a little rowboat. I saved the best for last, the old goose drank wine one. Mom would sing it when she wanted to make us laugh, usually to break up the monotony of a long car ride. 3 boys on an extended road trip, which we did often, where creativity was required to keep the inevitable fighting at bay. It was always the start of a silly exchange where we would compete to make each other laugh harder than the other. It was the early years with Mom that I remember the most clearly. They are my fondest of her, and I am grateful for them. Mom had a great sense of humor, and we shared many laughs together. She was my greatest advocate in life, and she taught me that I could do anything I set my mind to. She gave me confidence. That, combined with the creativity and dedication she showed in everything that she did, made me who I am today. A loving husband and father that still pursues his every passion in life to the fullest was the greatest gift she could have given me and my brothers. I love you, Mom. Keep that rowboat moored up close so the tide doesn't steal it away. Someday I'll meet up with you again. You and I and that monkey will go fishing together, and oh, the laughs we'll have. So I have a song that I want to play for Mom, and it was originally written by Eddie Vedder, and he almost got it perfect. So when you hear it, the way I would want Mom to hear it is if you just replace the word want with love. It'll be perfect for me. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Yes, I understand that every life must end. As we sit alone, I know someday we must go.
Oh, I'm a lucky man to count on both hands the ones I love.
Some folks just have one, others they've got none.
Stay with me, oh, let's just breathe.
Practiced are my sins, never gonna let me win.
Under everything, just another human being.
Yeah, I don't wanna hurt her. There's so much in this world to make me believe.
Stay with me,
thank you all for coming. It'd be remiss if I didn't say that you were all very special to my mom, and many of you are very special to my brothers and I as well. I'm touched by my brother's remarks. We had a lot of conversations this last week. It was the three of us on three-way calls talking about Mom and all the good times, the funny things that she did, how much she loved us, which is a general theme, and how we were going to try to get through this. If it's okay, I want to say that my younger brother, Chris, was concerned about getting through it as much as I am concerned about getting through mine, and he did a beautiful job. And I want to say that my older brother obviously is a professional at what he does. So, Kathleen, Kathy, or Kate Perkins, is known by most of her friends and family, was more to me than just her name and reputation. She was my mom, and she was beautiful. Yes, she was also physically attractive, and if I had a dime for every time one of my high school friends told me how hot she was, I wouldn't need a job or retirement. But she was most beautiful to me in other ways, in the way that she intervened in one of the lowest points of my life, in the way that she sang lullabies to me, held me and stroked my hair when I was a little boy. I think of the birthday parties and how Mom would create beautiful birthday invitations to all my friends and then show up with my favorite chocolate cake with coconut, pecan, and caramel frosting. And then later, when my palate had changed, cherry cheesecake. She was beautiful in the way that she read books or stories to me, wrote long letters to me when I was away from home, in college, or on a mission, encouraging me. And the phone calls with long conversations about my life, my successes and failures as a young man, and that was when long-distance charges were a thing. And the way she loved my children. She was proud of me even when I had a hard time thinking that I was enough. She was, as Paul noted in the obituary, our fiercest defender, even when we boys made any defense of our particular behavior difficult. I don't know if she truly knew how much she meant to me. In fact, I don't know if Mom knew how wonderful she was or how much she had accomplished in her relatively short life of 76 years. As Paul noted, Mom did not finish high school. Yes, she went on to receive her GED and took many college courses, but never finished. She didn't need to. I think my brothers and myself, all accomplished in fields with degrees and advanced degrees, would concur. Mom, in her short life, accomplished more than all of us. She taught preschool where those little young minds all fell in love with her, learning the ABCs and sight words. She ran community schools in LeGrand, and she brought the community center in Elgin, Oregon back from the brink of collapse. She wrote grants for that community center, as Paul noted, to fund after-school programs, a community library, dances on Saturday nights, which the schools did not have at that time, small concerts by local and out-of-state bands. She had classes for seniors to paint, dance, and have weekly meals. She got that swimming pool up and running and had swimming lessons there, as well as swim team and lifeguarding classes. She had a playground built next to the community center with all the playground accoutrements, slides, swings, and picnic tables for families to use. In addition to funding many of those programs and facilities through grant writing, she also started an annual auction. I remember her driving to different businesses in Elgin and LeGrand asking businesses to donate wares for that auction, an auction that started 50 years ago and is still in existence today. When reviewing many of Mom's letters to her parents this week, I found one where she describes her feelings of receiving monies for a grant that she wrote that paid the full mortgage on that community center. That was 1978. Many generations of children who otherwise would have missed out on all of these life skills were changed and advanced by her efforts in that community. She went on in other communities to work as a social worker and a mitigation specialist on death penalty cases, writing case histories on violent offenders. It made her nervous meeting with those people and their families. but she did it, and she wrote beautifully. If I didn't say it, Mom, I am saying... I'm saying it now. You did so much, and I am so proud of you. You were and are an inspiration to me. There will never be a holiday like those when I was young. Mom, who was one of the most creative people I ever met, would hand create beautiful cards, invitations, letters, etc. Valentine's Day would find us coming home from school to dozens of sugar cookies cut out in the shape of Valentine hearts and shapes with different colors of frosting, red, pink, and white. The table covered in Valentine-themed place settings, serenadas coming from the old Philco, and hundreds of construction paper cutouts in the shape of hearts hanging from the ceiling. Halloween was much the same, sugar cookies in the shapes of jack-o'-lanterns, orange and black, witches riding brooms, and themes throughout the house and covering the ceiling with Monster Mash playing on the radio. And Christmas, how many trees must one family have? Many, according to my mom, all themed and gorgeously decorated by the hand of a master artist. The Christmas bazaars, I remember how she would help us craft Christmas envelopes, cards, and decorations to sell. Her table would always sell out first, again, because of her talent and eye. The music she would play during those Christmases, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Dean Martin, Nat King Cole, all playing again on that old Philco. She lavished us during those Christmases with gifts wrapped in resplendent paper coverings and tied with ribbons and bows that she made herself. She made everything so special. To her, Christmas was magical. In fact, in an effort to keep everything magical, she refused to tell me, when she probably should have, that Santa Claus was not real. And I didn't know until my 5th grade teacher announced it in class in front of all of my classmates. I was devastated, mostly embarrassed, but I'm happy now that I didn't know until that time. Thank you, Mom. And then she was there at the lowest points in my life when I was an adult, using her acute mind and skill to help me out of what seemed to be impossible situations. I always knew I could go to her. It was comforting having her beside me, fighting any fight. She was never one to back down. My dad always said she would fight a buzzsaw. No doubt she could do that and win. She helped me in graduate school when I was called on to defend my thesis. I had written every conceivable question and its respective answer regarding the subject I was presented with to avoid any embarrassment of not being prepared. I wrote 72 pages of those questions and answers, and Mom went through every one of them with me over and over again until I could recite each. It took days, but I remember, Mom, how you were so patient, helpful, and proud of what I was doing and accomplishing. Thank you, Mom. She celebrated each of our accomplishments and most probably bore you all to death with grandiose stories of her boys and all they were doing. Mom, in retrospect, we apologize and thank all of you for patiently listening to these. It was evident how much she loved us and wanted everyone to know how important we were to her. I want to thank you, Mom, for everything you were to me. You said in a journal entry when writing about your father's impending death that you could see the life leaving him and wondered to yourself what he was thinking. We wondered these last few years what you were thinking. Hopefully it was wonderful memories of us at play, water skiing, snow skiing, picnicking, and having large family gatherings where everyone was enjoying themselves. You made much of that possible. My brothers and I have had many conversations these last few weeks about you, Mom, how much you taught us about so many things, and mostly how much you loved us. You loved fiercely like no one I have ever known. If you left us with anything, it is that. And Mom, when I am down, I will always remember those times when I was young and you would sing to calm me. I will recite today the song we sung together so many times, so many years ago. I will not sing it so as to spare these fine people what would otherwise be a musical faux pas. Mom, wherever you are, one last time. One last time, Mom. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird, and if that mockingbird won't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. And if that diamond ring is brass, Mama's gonna buy you a looking glass. And if that looking glass gets broke, Mama's gonna buy you a billy goat. And if that billy goat won't pull, Mama's gonna buy you a cart and bull. And if that cart and bull turn over, Mama's gonna buy you a dog called Rover. And if that dog called Rover don't bark, Mama's gonna buy you a horse and cart. And if that horse and cart turn round, you'll still be the sweetest little baby in town. Mom, I will always be the innocent little tow-headed baby boy who you love and who loves you. My brothers and I had decided that we were going to have music that meant something to us and maybe meant something to Mom as well played. And the next musical selection is a song by David Gates. It was a song that was adapted to a movie, The Goodbye Girl. It was a Neil Simon play. And Mom loved that movie in the 70s, and she talked about it a lot, and she loved the song, and she even wanted to name our boat The Goodbye Girl. And so we'll listen to it now.
Salisbury Hill, I could see the city light. flew out of the night. He was something to observe. Came in close, I heard a voice, standing, stretching every nerve. I had to listen, had no choice. I did not believe the information, just had to trust imagination. To keep in silence I resigned. My friends would think I was a nut, turning water into wine. Open doors would soon be shut. So I went from day to day. My life was in a rut, till I thought of what I'd say, which connection I should cut. I was feeling part of the scenery. I walked right out of the machinery. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Hey, he said, grab your things, I'm gonna take you home.
When it all goes crazy and the thrill is gone, the days get rainy and the nights get long. When you get that feeling you were born to lose, staring at your ceiling, thinking of your blues. When there's so much trouble that you wanna cry, the world has crumbled and you don't know why. When your hopes are fading and they can't be found, dreams will let you waiting, friends will let you down. Just remember I love you and it'll be alright. Just remember I love you more than I can say. Baby, then your blues will fade away. When you need a lover and you're down so low, you start to wonder but you never know. When it feels like sorrow is your only friend, knowing that tomorrow you'll feel this way again. When the blues come calling at the break of dawn, the rain keeps falling but the rainbow's gone. When you feel like crying but the tears won't come, when your dreams are dying and when you're on the run, just remember I love you and it'll be alright. Just remember I love you more than I can say. Just remember I love you and it'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be
Took my love and I took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder. Children get older. I'm getting older too. So changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder. Children get older. I'm getting older too. Oh yes, I'm getting older too. So, could you take this love, take it down? Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down, down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down. Oh, where the landslide will bring it down. Where the landslide will bring it down. Where the landslide will bring it down.
Woke up today and decided to kill my ego. It never done me no good, no how. Gonna break through and blast off to the bar door. Hitting them flowers of life, far away from here and now. Taking a 49 divine day vacation from reality and all else in between. Gonna transmigrate to my destination, far beyond time in an eternal dream. Am I dreaming? Am I dying? Either way, I don't mind at all.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
Just can't help but cry. Oh, you have to let go. So may fall. Close your eyes, it becomes so easy to see.
I want to thank my brothers for putting that together. That was lovely. It was a lovely tribute to a really extraordinary woman. At this point, we'd like to open up the floor for everyone to share stories about Mom. No one's required to do it, and we don't want you to feel any pressure to do it. But we'd really appreciate it if we got some stories shared with us, because it's so important. I know that not everyone's comfortable with public speaking. We can get it started off. You're welcome to come up to the podium and speak. If you're more comfortable, we have a rotating mic, and if you just raise your hand, Potters will come to you, and actually, the first person who is going to speak is my Uncle Tom.
The talker. So, Kathy, I'm Tom, her brother-in-law, and when I think about Kathy, and when did I first meet Kathy, it's a bit like asking, when did I meet my mom and dad? She has just been a forever imprint in my life, and one of my very earliest memories that I forever will think about Kathy is her and her friend Jeannie, and I hear that Jeannie might be here in the audience today. Hello, Jeannie. You're a part of this story. Is before Kathy and Jack were married. I don't know how, but I ended up being at the Cornwall place up there on the bench. And anyway, the two of you took me down to Rowan's, bought me this little Coke. And as we are coming back, it's a hot summer day, I remember that, and we turned into that kind of long driveway into the Cornwall family's house, and it's hot, and there are those beautiful trees, and you just feel the shade, and it's cool. And what is blasting is Petula Clark's Downtown on an AM radio, single speaker, and to this day, I hear Petula Clark sing Downtown, and I think of Kathy, and I think of Jeannie as well. So it's a forever first memory in my life. So I would like to just share, she's just been there as part of who I am for all of these years. I have story after story of stories about Kathy and her stories and my stories and our family stories, but I can't do all of those. But, the next time that really comes to mind in terms of who she was and how she shared who she was as well is when Mom died, and Jack and Dale and I are, it's tough to lose your parent, and I have 3 boys here who are feeling that. And I just remember thinking, we have to write an obituary, and I spent my life writing and talking, but there are no harder words than putting pen to paper to talk about your own mother. And Kathy shows up and said, I've written the first draft of your mom's obituary. You don't have to take any of it. You don't have to do anything with it. But my God, it's just a sharing that she did all of her life for people, and she conveyed in what she wrote the loss that I felt, that Jack felt, that Dale felt. And so, again, these are words, I know I thanked her, but you can't really thank her for what she did and what she contributed on that day. And in my last memory of Kathy is during COVID, and the world has shut down, and I knew that Kathy was having troubles with what was going on with her health and everything like that. And so Rich and I tried to do an annual thing to go to the Ola Cemetery, and it was quite a big deal because you couldn't really fly and you couldn't do all this stuff. So we got a car and we drove up here, and we're pulling into the Ola Cemetery, and I'm looking over and I'm seeing these two women who are kind of, their backs are to me, and I'm like, this is kind of an odd duo. And anyway, she was, these two women were down in the Perkins portion of the cemetery, and I said, Rich, I'll bet I'm going to know this person. So anyway, she's kind of wandering, we're getting our flowers out, and we're going, and then she starts walking up the hill a little bit, and I walk over and I said, Rich, I think that's Kathy. And so we walked over and I said, Kathy, and she turned around and she said, Tom. And it was the glow of her eyes, it was the smile, it was the Kathy Perkins that I had known my entire life. And it was a wonderful, fabulous moment because for me, well, I saw Kathy after that. She knew everything about me. She remembered everything about me. And we had this wonderful conversation about her boys and her and what she was doing up there. And it was a special last memory for me. So I am mostly proud that, not mostly, I am forever proud that Kathy was my sister-in-law, and she was a longtime friend and confidant, and I will miss her very much.
So, I can't tell you what an amazing job you three and your wives, better halves, and grandkids have done to put this together for Kathy. She is so proud. I can't say one, favorite memories is when I was a kid, my mom and dad and I would go visit Kathy and my brother Jack and the three boys wherever they were living. And we're, right. Sorry, I gotta get my shit together here. Anyway, so we would go visit, and it was filled with a lot of excitement about what art project Kathy would be working on or what she would be creating, what car my brother may have bought, what sort of, God knows what the boys have done, right? And the home remodels, Kathy was just so amazing with, well, she was a do-it-yourselfer before do-it-yourself was the rage. She was Pinterest before there was a Pinterest. She had an amazing ability, that creative spirit that she had. So it was a lot of fun to go visit them. And I, because I was a bratty child, like to, well, I'm still a brat, but I liked to remind the boys that I'm their aunt, even though 2 of the 3 were older than me. And Chris was basically my same age. So, but that was a lot of fun for me. But Kathy really connected to people. She saw me in my different versions of myself, right? We all go through things. She connected and she brought out some amazing things with people, which is such a great trait. And one of the things that for me too is she was successful. She worked. She had 3 boys that were a little rowdy, and did it all with love, and definitely the biggest defender, biggest cheerleader of those boys, and all of us, honestly, that were lucky enough to be loved by her. This has gone longer than I meant it to. This is going to be really quick. My earliest memories is just being so amazed at how she could feed 100 people practically at the drop of a hat. She could create things. She was fire, she was a friend, she was a wife, she was mother, she was a challenge, an obstacle, a solution. When I think about Kathy and close my eyes and let the colors and the songs and the sense of who that person is, the words that bubble up to my mind are those things: friend, co-conspirator, laughter, art, paint, clay, wood, fire, dragon slayer, just general badass. And what I really enjoyed, though, about her was that she wasn't afraid to learn new things. So we all think certain things or are trapped in whatever our viewpoint is or however we may see or approach a problem. And what I enjoyed and I learned from her, I think, partially, is as you get new information and you analyze that in whatever the issue is, whether you're doing it with your heart, with your brain, with your fire, with your temper, because God knows Kathy had a temper. So it just was refreshing and good to see that. And she's still here with us. She's so happy that you're all here to celebrate her soul. And more importantly, that you're here for each other, to help each other, to appreciate, remember, and enjoy the funny stories, the crazy things that she did with all of you. And such a joy. And we're all so thankful. And you guys did an amazing job of everything. Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to make this short, but I don't guarantee anything. So, my name is Linda Welch, Linda Rose. Kathy and I were schoolmates and kind of partners in crime many years ago. So, my dear friend Kathy, we said goodbye some time ago. It was a difficult time, but now a time to reflect. To share the love you freely gave, the friendship I have treasured, and the memories that we shared. What a blessed life we have lived. So many stolen moments, armory dances, football and basketball games, poster parties, and trips dragging Maine. Rock and roll, Paul Revere and the Raiders, Peter, Paul and Mary, Ola dances. We went to a couple of those. Bus rides for out-of-town games, drill team, study hall, best of all, our sleepovers and double dates. Some very cool cars at the drive-in theater, swims at Rocky Point and Black Canyon Dam. We had such a great time. When you came home, we reconnected and our relationship began again, right where it had left off. Well, maybe a bit milder and a bit slower, but some great lunches with our gal pals and celebrating the fact that we were all still alive. I'm so thankful for the people you acquainted me with, your wonderful family, friends. I so admire the woman that you became, strong, loyal, and proud. I know you will continue to watch over with the great pride and joy you've always had. I'm jealous, dear friend. You got to see Jesus before I did. I continue to love you and treasure the memories. And I found this poem and I wanted to read it. It says, "You ask me if I see you. You ask me if I see you since I have gone away. I try to help you understand. I watch you every day. You wonder if I hear you when you talk to me at night. I hear you say, you love me. You will never leave my sight. You cry so many tearful tears for me, they flow upon your face. Please feel me when I wipe your tears. I want to smile upon your face. Remember our sweet memories, the times we shared with love. Hold on to all your hopes and dreams. I support them from above. Let go of all your guilt and pain. Let go of all your fears. God just had other plans for me. Why carry that all these years? The day I passed is not the day I made you love me so. Please cherish all the memories made before I had to go. Just take the day I passed and put it in a box with care. Now hand that box to God, please, for it isn't yours to bear. Please know I'll always love you, so I watch you carry on, and know that I am here with you, for we are never really gone.
Hopefully I can do this. Kathy was my sister-in-law, and she never left our family. She was a Cornwall, but she was a Perkins. The things I remember about Kathy is that she was larger than life. Her and my mother together could get into the most of trouble. I'm sure that's why they moved away. There was never a dry moment. They could always laugh at themselves. And I probably shouldn't tell this, but I find it the funniest memory, and it just suits both their personalities, and I'm sure Dad's up there just has his hands full. But one time they'd been drinking, and they'd had a bit too much, and Dad and Jack could not contain them, I'm sure, because they never could. And they had to go to the bathroom. And they were quite tooted. And so they decided it would be wise to go up the hill and just pee down the hill. And I just find that's what I loved about Kathy and my mom, is they were fun, down to earth, fractured, imperfect, beautiful, and just very perfect, imperfect people. And I always laughed because Jack and Kathy would come home, And Kathy would call, and I'm thinking to myself, she's calling the boys. And I just know they were like, oh, quiet, quiet. That's Mom on the phone. I'm sure they were having a party, and Kathy always swore that they weren't, but they were too close to my age. I'm sure they were. But Kathy just had really stayed in the family, and I appreciate that about her. And she was just a lovely, feisty, ornery, sweet, loving person, and she'll be greatly missed. I'm sure they're peeing on the hill.
Okay, my name is Sydney, and I'm Jock's daughter. Kathy's my grandma, and I had to write this down because I'd probably get paralyzed coming up here, so I might be looking down a little bit. All right. Grandma Kathy was my big, sexy hairspray using, baby drink making, landscape painting, tea party hosting, cherry festival sponsoring, country cooking, social butterfly, flower gardening, stubborn, loving, beautiful, and intelligent grandmother. I never really got to know her as an adult due to her dementia, but as a child and as a teenager, my relationship with her was one where I felt unconditional love and support and comfort. I don't think there was a thing I could do that would stop her from loving me. Even in her mid-stages of dementia, she could console me with thoughtful statements, and they were statements about how special and important I was. She was a pillar of strength to me in a time when her mind was fading. She was so willing to laugh with me, too. I won't forget that. She was always laughing, even with her dementia. Her sense of humor was another characteristic of her strength. She had to endure through all the trials she went through in her life. My grandma gave me a full childhood where I was free to make mistakes, learn, be scared, be creative, and ask questions. The image of her teaching me how to draw a railroad coming from a distance always passes through my mind, or her driving me home from water aerobics, blasting Glenn Campbell until I told her my ears hurt. And us renovating an old wooden dollhouse with new wallpaper, new trinkets, new flooring, I'm trying to think of, and paint, of course. Grandma Kathy modeled a youthful and generous spirit that was easy to be around as a kid. I was pretty scared to talk to adults as a kid, but Grandma always got on my level and made me really comfortable, so I was able to talk to her always. In death, I want to and will remember these feelings that I recall from my childhood. Her legacy is one that has a lasting impression on me, one that I really want to remember, and that gives me comfort in times of weakness. Grandma, you are a strength, and I'm so proud to be your granddaughter. I'm grateful for the love that you modeled to me, and I look to you as I experience the heartbreak and the highs of life. This complicated life. I love you and all the memories I have the gift of remembering. You are a whole lot of woman.
We can't let this go by without representing the classmates here. So I've been on Facebook, friends with Jock and Paul. They'd make posts now and then. You see their post, and you can tell their mom was an artist because Jock has got the most gorgeous photographs. And whenever I see them, I think, oh yeah, Jock and Paul. And it's like, why do I know their mom? I never dated Jock or Paul in high school. Not that I would have minded, but never did. And it's like, why do I know their mom? And we got to talking about this at the class reunion. The friend was like, oh yeah, she was our young women leader at church. And whenever I would see your guys' post and think of your mom, I would think, she always made me feel important. How did I have the privilege of knowing her? Why did I know her? But I knew that she loved me, and because she loved me and knew me, I felt important. And that carried on to her boys, because I don't know if you guys knew Paul in high school, but he was just cash, just walking through the hall and just had this cool little grin. And, you know, I'm still not sure who I am and always afraid of the world and everything. And Paul would walk by and say, hi, Janet, this half lopsided little grin. And that made me feel important. And your mom made me feel important. And I remember we were, for some reason, at your guys' house, and somewhere we were talking, and so Kathy was talking to us girls and through the church. I guess that must have been what it was. And she was telling us this story when you guys lived in Oregon up in the woods. And she said we'd had a photographer come and take our family picture. And I told you this at the class reunion. But the photographer had come, and she said the boys all had long hair. And I'm thinking, what? We could never do that in our family. You know, boys have to have short-cut hair and everything. But no, these boys, they were wild in the woods in Oregon, had long hair. And this photographer comes, and he says, or he says, she said, the photographer says, okay, girls, let's get together and get your picture taken. And Sandy said, they put their hands on their hips and said, we ain't girls, we's boys. And she would laugh, and I was envious because she loved your boys so much. And she conveyed that love for you to the rest of us. And she conveyed, whoever, the little friend from high school, Red, I see you, I hear you. And when you were in the presence of Kathy, you were heard and you were seen. And the same with you boys. Being in your presence, I feel heard and I feel seen. And it was such a gift to have our class reunion. And it's like, man, Paul came all the way over from New England, and he brought Jock. And that was fun for us. And I leave this with you, and I leave you my love. And I leave you my love for your mom, because she was beautiful. And just like you guys are too. She may have said handsome, but you're beautiful and handsome. So.
If there's one more.
You said you were coming up with me. Okay, so if I can see this, you can stand with me. Okay. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Casey, Chris's better half. And Kate was amazing. Not just my mother-in-law, but one of my best friends. I can't tell you how many, I have too many stories to tell, and I wouldn't get through them anyways, but Krista, her granddaughter, was not able to be here, and she wrote a poem. So I'm going to read it to you. There is one curse word in it. I'm just going to tell you all now. Grandma, summer trips, tea parties, Fifi the cat, bossing around chickens, Aunt Sharon's fur coat and big floppy hat, walking to the little store, going to the beach, all of those memories close enough to reach. Oh, how I wish I could go back, relive those moments once more. Cherish each second with you. Sorry, I'm gonna go. Cherish each second with you. Go for one more adventure and explore. We'll do this again, Grandma. I promise you that. We'll laugh over again about Fifi, that whore of a cat. You live in my memory and all that I do, for part of me is you. Love your granddaughter. Wait, no, I'm going to go sit. Do you want me to sit down? It's up to you. I'm going to sit.
Hi, I'm Paul's wife, Denise. I decided to talk about Kathy through longhand. It is making me reflect on her handwriting. So beautiful, so calming to write and read cursive. Paul went through every picture, every letter from his mother. After we heard she had passed, at least for me, her life took on a story I could write about. A child of the 50s and 60s is a unique one, with such a rapid changing world. Kathy used her beautiful handwriting to keep her grounded with every career move. I met her during her professional work career. I quickly learned it only took Kathy one experience to learn her job and to progress to the next level. This is when I became mesmerized. To explain, it took me a habit many times repeated for me to believe in myself, not Kathy. Once was enough. All of us read her accomplishments in the obituary. That's a lot of life. I go back to the beauty of her handwritten work, letters and diaries, keeping beautiful things around her, by her and through her, brought her to the end. Because of distance, Paul and I saw Kathy with acute changes with every visit. With dementia, the experts say you're left at the end with what you started with. We were lucky enough to experience her 2 weeks before her passing. She was brave, alone, beautiful, and smiling. She told me it was hard. Hard was never hidden with Kathy. We both danced with hard topics. I never felt that our kindred spirits were not in line. I hope to move forward with what she instilled in her boys. Believe in yourself. Thank you.
For you people who don't know me, I am Gabe Perkins, son of Jock, otherwise known as Gabe the Babe. I'm also the most spoiled grandchild, specifically from Grandma Kathy. My favorite memories of Grandma Kathy was when I was younger. Me and Gavin would always go over to her house, and whether it would be going to the Cherry Festival, teaching me how to churn and make butter, we always had a good time, and it was probably some of my favorite memories of my childhood. Also, you can't forget me and Gavin watching the beginning of Stephen Colbert every night. Grandma Kathy insisted we watch it. It was so hilarious. But she always spoiled us rotten, and it was always amazing to be around her. She was like a second mother almost. One specific memory I have was was when she would take me to see her friends at the pool. I remember we would always go eat at the Rowan. My order was always a corn dog and a chocolate milkshake. Those are damn good. And after that, we'd always go to the pool out in Emmett. It's like a 15-minute drive, and we'd see her friends like Colleen. Where are you? Hello. What else? I was thinking of something else as well. It will come to me. Grandma always would sing, as Paul said, and Chris, I forgot how he goes, but like the monkey drank the wine, I forgot. Yeah, that was, she always sang that to me and Gavin, and that's a great memory as well. That's all I have to say. Love you, Grandma.
Hello, I'm Max, Kathy's grandson, Paul and Denise's son. So I grew up in Vermont, which always felt like a world away when I was a kid. But I do remember in the summer times, I might be lucky enough to come out here and see family and become grandma's problem. So, when I was out here, I would mainly stay with grandma. And when it was just grandma and I, between visiting the rest of the family, I remember just driving around, specifically in Emmett. She would show me where she used to live, tell me what this building used to be and what that building used to be. She'd take me to her shop and whatever goings-ons was happening around town. Always stopping for chicken fried steak. And I haven't been here for some time, which I regret deeply, but even so, these last few days, when there's been a quiet moment in between plans or in between seeing family, can't help but feel a strange sense of familiarity or sad nostalgia, sort of like coming home, which is ridiculous because I never lived here. But I realized that it reminded me of the summers with Grandma, when there wasn't anything in particular we set out to do. And it does, when I was writing this, it felt a little silly that this was how I remembered her, because there's so many wonderful stories that everyone's been telling. And there's more than a few great stories. But she always showed me so much love, whether it was making the most of the time we had together, making those in between seemingly insignificant moments special, or filling my birthday cards so full of writing that the front, middle, and back pages are completely filled. She made sure to make sure that I knew she loved me and that she was thinking of me. Time with Grandma was always special, no matter what was happening. I hope that's what I can carry with me, that I can show love to those that I care about in a way that it shines through even those moments of the quiet in between moments. Love you, Grandma.
It's not over. So I'm just going to read something that our cousin, Tony Fouletpour, who was the oldest son of our Aunt Sharon, who died before Mom, sent to us. Tony lives in Michigan, and he wasn't able to come. And I asked him if he would like to write something, and he did. And here's what he wrote. Unlike some, I am not able to recollect the details of my first memories as a child. My memories as a very young boy really come to me as feelings and emotions. They are perceptible feelings of joy, mostly. So I cannot say when I first met my Aunt Kathy. I only know the joy she brought to my childhood, a joy that is impossible to describe, but resonates with me to this day. For a child, Aunt Kathy was so much fun. When my brother and I heard my aunt was visiting, we would celebrate and pester my mom with our impatience. "When are they going to be here, Mom?" we would ask over and over. My mom was just as excited as we were. Aunt Kathy and my mom were as close as sisters could be. Of course, like all sisters, they fought, but it was the uncontrollable laughter, the stories about the family, the smile on my mom's face, and my own joy of listening to it all that I remember the most. Aunt Kathy was so full of life. She laughed easily. She was loving and nurturing. She embraced creativity and was open to sharing her passion for it with me. She was filled with compassion, love for others, and she showed it in her actions and accomplishments in life. She amazed me and everyone with her hidden talents and life achievements that were considerable and important to others. It is no wonder so many people adored her as I do and always will. When I heard from Paul that my Aunt Kathy had passed away, I almost instantly asked myself what she would tell me. I feel I know what my Aunt Kathy would tell me. Remember the joy, Tony.
Knocking upon your yeah. Hey, ain't it good to know that you got a friend? People can be so cold. They'll hurt you and desert you. Well, they'll take your soul if you let them. Oh, yeah, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Oh, baby, don't you know about winter, spring, summer, or fall? Hey, now all you've got to do is call. Lord, I'll be there, yes, I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend, yeah. Ain't it good to know you got a friend? Ain't it good to know you got a friend? Oh, yeah, yeah, you've got a friend.
So not everything goes as planned. When I read Tony's thought about Mom, I sat down rather than do my reading, and I thought, wow, maybe I'll just sit here and nobody will notice. But one of my brothers reminded me that I still had to speak. Yeah, but that's not the only error. The other error in planning was in planning. I agreed to go last in the speeches, and I hate to follow my brothers because your speeches, your readings were just so special. And I don't know how you got through them, and I don't know if I'm going to get through this very well, but I'm going to take a drink of water and give it my best shot. Dancing with Mom. I'm sure I was too young to remember the first time I got to dance with my mom. But I am certain I could not yet walk, let alone dance. And she held me in the crook of her arm while I rested on her hip, as I saw her do with her nieces and grandchildren many years later. And she swayed and shuffled and clicked her tongue to the roof of her mouth, like the click language of a Khoisan tribe, along to the beat of a Paul Revere and the Raiders song or a mid-60s Beatles tune. The actual first memory I have of dancing with Mom was at her parents' home on the bench here in Emmett. Late 1960s or early 1970s, Andrew's sisters on the portable radio, tables and chairs pushed to the walls of the kitchen to reveal a linoleum dance floor, and me, too shy to want to dance in front of my dad and my grandparents and my aunt and uncle. But Mom coaxed me out. She faced me, bent down, arms outstretched, fingers extended, and said, "Come on, honey, dance with your mama." And I reached out to her. She pulled me in, and we box stepped, or rather she did, while I blushed and faltered, but then eventually became more confident. And as the steps began to feel more familiar to me, Mom laughed and said, "By golly, you're doing pretty good, kiddo." Years later, in Northern California, before I left for my first formal dance, Mom brought me into the living room and showed me how I should lead my date by holding her right hand with my left and gently cradle her back, using my hands and arms to guide her. I held Mom just like that and danced with her, but I was embarrassed to be a teenage boy dancing with his mom in a living room, wearing a rented tuxedo, which in hindsight was hideous, and an enormous boutonniere. A petulant high school freshman, I couldn't wait to flee through the front door. I danced with Mom at my wedding reception in an orchestrated mother and son dance at the Owl Club in a small northern Vermont village. She was radiant. She wore the burgundy dress that she said she paid a fortune for in Burlington the day before. She wore that dress many times to each of her boys' milestone events. I can't recall the song we danced to, but I recall that all eyes were on Mom in that packed ballroom. I know she was self-conscious, and she cracked a few jokes about being the center of attention. I also remember what she told me. "Oh, honey, I just love Denise, and I'm so excited for the two of you to begin your life together. Now, when am I going to get some grandchildren?" Mom was never subtle about wanting grandchildren. When my grandmother Shirley died, I flew back to Emmett and stayed with Mom. By then, Mom had been living here for some time and had made a life here, rekindled old friendships and made new ones, and made herself a comfortable home. Mom's house, like every house we ever lived in when we were kids, was a showplace, with rooms obviously arranged and decorated with the eyes and hands of an artist. We had steak dinner that night, and then we went dancing at the Gem Lounge. Do you remember that? The music was loud, and Mom was laughing, changing partners among her boys and others, smiling and singing until she stopped between the songs and said, "Whew, my goodness, your old Mom needs a break." She wasn't old, of course. She was happy, surrounded by her children, in her hometown, proud of the new life she had made and the friends she surrounded herself with. It's funny how tricky memory can be, but I swear I remember her saying, "See, Paul, I'm doing just fine." Of course, it could be that it was just me who was thinking, Mom's doing just fine. We danced again at my daughter's wedding reception on a blue sky day under a bright white tent in a green pasture on a parquet dance floor before my brother-in-law's band. But by then, her ease with the world and her grace were fading. My brothers were there for the reception. I'm sure they noticed. I'm sure we talked about it. But Mom smiled, and I held her a little closer than I had during past dances. I didn't understand the transformation that was taking place deep within the folds of her brain. I should have known. Despite the happy event, she was not holding court as she usually did, regaling everyone with hilarious, sometimes bawdy, and often apocryphal stories, and absolutely cracking everyone up. No, she sat alone much of the day and waited for people to approach and engage her. When my brothers and I would approach and ask if she wanted something to drink or to eat, she told us, "Don't you worry about me, honey. I'm having fun just sitting right here." Taking it all in. You go have fun. I now regret thinking that she was just in a funk and needed to snap out of it. By our next dance, only last year, Mom had moved out of the last home she made for herself and into the cottages, where my brothers, Jock and Chris, and sister-in-law Casey had made a comfortable and familiar room for her, furnishing Mom's room with her furniture, her photos, and her knickknacks. Her memory was declining, her personality had changed, and her speech had become glossolalia. But she was back to holding court. And if her speech wasn't clear, her familiar speech patterns signified the arc of the stories that she told, and especially the rousing endings. We all laughed. I remember that in the course of listening and laughing, she said something about dancing. I asked her if she wanted to dance with me, In a moment of clarity, she asked if that was allowed, and I told her what I think she would have told me if our fortunes were reversed. We can dance anywhere, anytime. They can't stop us. So we arose and danced. I held her close, and Mom smiled. So did I. I knew that she knew that we were dancing. Her legs were strong. She was stable on her feet. She let me lead, and she laughed. We all laughed. The last dance with Mom was probably not what you would call a dance, but to me it was. It was only about 3 weeks ago. I'd flown back to Emmett for the purpose of seeing Mom with my wife, believing it might be the last time. It was our second visit to the cottages on that trip. My wife, Denise, was with me on that particular visit. Mom had slept through our first visit in her recliner while we held her hands and spoke softly to her. The second visit, though, was different. Mom was seated at the dining table in the common area, having her breakfast. She fed herself. Denise and I sat next to her, and Mom locked eyes with Denise and wouldn't look away. She didn't really talk, but it was clear that she recognized her daughter-in-law. She finished eating, and we got the okay to take her back to her room, where we hoped to sit down with her. I coaxed Mom to her feet. Denise supported her from behind while I faced Mom, my arms outstretched, fingers extended to hold hers. She looked at me. We did our own shuffle dance, me taking tiny steps backwards and she shuffling forward, all the way to her room. As we shuffled, she smiled, and I swear I detected a laugh. When we got to the love seat in her room and she sat, she immediately fell fast asleep, and I continued to hold her, our arms outstretched, hand in hand. I wish I'd had the presence of mind to say to her what she'd said to me all those years ago. By golly, you're doing pretty good, kiddo. I'll never dance with Mom again, but I dream about her dancing. And in my dream, she's not dancing with me, but in a circle, holding hands with her loved ones, head back, hair flying, and laughing. So I didn't have to introduce my song because it was played before I spoke. But as you all know, that was James Taylor, and Mom loved James Taylor. But she liked James Taylor's former romantic partner better, I would say, because she liked to play Carly Simon at our little house on Washington Street in La Grande, Oregon, with that Philco stereo cranked up to about 10, and Carly Simon cranking out Anticipation or You're So Vain, just as loud as could be so all the neighbors could hear. But I don't think any Carly Simon songs quite fit the bill for today, so James Taylor had to substitute. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you all on behalf of my brothers, thank you all for the wonderful role that you played in our lives, and especially in Mom's lives. Everyone here knew our Mom, and she loved each and every one of you. And I know that she made each and every one of you feel special, and that each and every one of you made her feel special too. And I especially want to thank the people who helped her towards the end of her life. Her amazingly devoted, kind, caring, and extraordinarily patient caregivers, both when Mom was able to live in her home much longer than one would ever think possible, and when she was at the cottages. Thank you so much. And Dad, I want to thank you because you made some financial decisions that you didn't have to make, and those helped Mom in ways that you may only be able to imagine. Thank you. So we're not quite through yet, but I do want to tell you what's coming next. There will be a graveside service. And there will be a procession up to the Emmett Cemetery. And so if you would allow the folks at Potter's to go first, and then I think the family will go next in our cars, all of us with our lights on, and I believe with our flashers on for safety. But no one go there earlier, because then we may not be able to actually get to the gravesite. We would really appreciate it. We'd love to have you join us. It'll just be a short graveside ceremony. And then we'll head back to Emmett City Park, where we have some drinks and some sandwiches and some snacks. So please do join us, because we'd love to just hang out and tell stories and have a good time with you all. And we know that Mom would have wanted that. So now I'd just like to ask my brothers to come up. So, as you no doubt heard throughout the ceremony, Mom was always singing. She was always singing. And there was one song in particular that she always sang to us, to comfort us. And we are going to request, but really demand, that you join us in singing this, and it's a cappella. And my brothers and I don't have our mother's singing talent. So please don't make us start and do this alone, because we really don't want to be the voices that are carrying you. All right? So the lyrics to the song that we're going to sing are on the back of your program. You probably don't need to follow them, because it's a very familiar song. And we will get you started, but again, please join in. Are you ready, brothers?
Yeah.
All right. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Great job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find